Yo, what's up guys, Beastmas here, and welcome to r/NoSleep. Yes, we're doing another video on this. Also, I just want to say, this is the third time trying to do this intro, because I messed up saying Beastie Buzz, and then the second time I said, we are playing r/NoSleep. Yeah, you don't play, you read. But I wanted to make an r/NoSleep video, and I've just kind of been sitting on it, just like I've had it pinned for the past few days, and it's just like, I want to, but I'm not going. But not right now. And plus, school stuff's been going on, and now I have a weekend to myself. And now I have a weekend where I can do whatever I want. Where I can do what I want. So, let's just jump into this. Alright, the first story we will be reading is One Rabbit. Just from the title, it kinda interests me, so let's jump into it. It sits and stares at me, its bulk dominating the room, eyes as dark and lifeless as a black hole. It still manages to pour malevolence towards me, fixing me to the spot. I stare back the way you do when you see a spider, fearing the sight of it but needing to watch to make sure you know where it is at all times. It was the same with the toy. No one else saw it. The immutable fact of its hatred towards me. The razor-sharp bristles lined its body, knife-like claws sprung from its paws. Even whilst I slept, I can feel it watching and waiting for me in the dark. Its hatred directed at me through the floorboards, crawling up the stairs and into my bed. One rabbit. It'll be the best things he's ever had. It'll be the best things he's ever had. The man with the dirty suit told me outside the pub. I was walking back from the shops with my daughter. As I passed the pub, the man stepped out holding the toy aloft. I didn't want this man near me or my daughter, so I smiled politely and tried to decline the toy. I felt pity for the drunk and asked them who he was, and he looked perplexed, told me he didn't know, and stumbled off. It was just a random encounter with a drunk and a funny story to tell. Hey, guess where this rabbit toy came from? I would say, embellishing the story for maximum laughs. Thank God the toy didn't let him. Thank God I took the toy and didn't let him give it to my daughter. At the time, my fear was unknown, of the unknown germs that could have been on it. Since being a mom, I felt constant sense of anxiety about germs. It was like the world as I knew had changed and turned against me. Everywhere was a potential threat, and germs looked all over. Places I once knew like the back of my hand changed when I had a buggy with me. It seemed like another of those times. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. I was wrong. I am stood in my dining room watching the toy. I can't let it near my daughter. Time slips away from me, and I find myself upstairs, frantic. I race down, and Nancy is there laughing and giggling with the toy in her arms, the razor-like fur near her delicate skin. As I stand staring, I wonder, it looks harmless, like a toy should. Soft, cuddly, and safe. Perhaps I need a coffee. I haven't slept well since the toy arrived. A few minutes later, I am sat in the living room, coffee in one hand and Nancy playing quietly with the toy. I feel content. I was wrong. Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit. Run, run, run. Startled, I look up and the hate-filled obsidian eyes glare at me. The toy is closer to me now, a foot away. Nancy is happily playing with another toy. I can hear the rabbit taunting me. It sounds like a thought. I don't hear it with my ears, but with my mind. I have to run. I jump up and speed out of the front door. If it's chasing me, it can't hurt anyone else. The patter of its paws running after me sends shivers down my spine. If I can run to the park, I can hide. The nursery rhyme taunts of run, run rabbit, run, swirl in my mind. If it gets faster, the faster I run. It's 10 minutes or a day since I left the house. Time has become slippery. I can hear the rabbit in every rustle of the bushes. However, I need to stay strong, and I'll let you all know about the toy. If a man offers you a rabbit, run. Rabbit, run. Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit. Run, run, run. So, with that story, I don't know where that story was going. Like, basically, with my thoughts, I don't really have any thoughts, actually. But what my thoughts are on that story is, like, it's a toy, like, the toy, it's kind of like a fear. I think there's, like, a fear of rabbits. I'm gonna look this up real quick. I think it may have to do with, like, the fear of rabbits, so, if that's a thing. Alright, I looked it up, and it's leporophobia, the fear of rabbits, or bunnies. I feel that this story could be about the fear of. I feel like this story could be about leporophobia, seeing as how, like, because it's talking about a rabbit, and it's like this rabbit is just like it wants to kill me, even though a rabbit really doesn't want to kill you. And it's just like, I don't. So it's like, you don't want to go. But, yeah, uh, I don't know. On to the next story. Alright, so, we have found the second story called, I used to work the night shift. Now, let's get on. I took the job because it was close to home. I was afraid my car would die. At least this way, I could always get to work. The store was tiny, but somehow had room for all the accepted vices. Cigarettes, beer, lotto, even a rack of sad, the monetized magazines that hid almost behind the counter. It wasn't too long before I got to know the regular customers. Some were just working stiffs, habitually stopping in for coffee and cigarettes. Others were alcoholics, returning multiple times each night to buy more beer. Then there were the lurkers. They wanted to hang around, drink coffee, and talk. Most of them were nice enough, despite being the kind of person who hung around at a convenience store at 3 a.m. There were a few of them, though, who I eventually started to dread. The blowhard with his politics and racism, the mental health casualty who probably should have been in a facility, and Ed. Ed worked at the dump. He started work at 5 a.m. He'd show up at my store sometime around 4ish, usually. He'd buy coffee and a bear claw and linger. One day, Ed bought me a couple of venison venison steaks from a deer he'd shot. It was a little strange. I thanked them and put the steaks in the freezer. Then he brought me chocolate roses, which is when I figured out why it was hanging out so much. After that, I dread the sight of Ed's truck pulling into the parking lot. I was a confrontational person. I needed my job. What was I going to do if he pushed the issue? He kept bringing me unwanted gifts, and I kept trying desperately to be polite, but not encouraging. And then one day he just didn't show up. I didn't notice at first. It was probably a week before I realized that Ed hadn't been in. I was relieved. The more time went past, the more relieved I got. I didn't question my good luck. If I thought about it at all, I thought maybe Ed had found someone else to pursue. Hopefully, someone who wanted a middle-aged redneck who worked at the dump. It was probably a good 6 months later that I thought I saw Ed's truck pulling into the parking lot. My stomach dropped. But he didn't come in. Over the next few weeks, it kept happening. I'd see the truck out the corner of my eye, but he'd never actually come into the store. Always and when there was no one else around. One of the other late-night regulars was a cop. He'd come in for coffee and occasionally a pastry if they were fresh out of the oven. Ed's phantom truck was skeeving me out. Felt kind of stupid. He'd never done anything besides give me inappropriate gifts. But the next time the cop came in, asked him about Ed. He knew who Ed was being the operative word. Ed had been dead for months. He'd been caught stealing cash from the dump. They charged a fee to drop trash, and Ed had been pocketing cash. Then hung him. They'd hung himself. I only stayed in that job for another couple of weeks. Being alone all night was too creepy. My new job is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Even in the wintertime. It's daylight when I get there, and still light when I leave. But yesterday, I thought I saw a familiar truck pulling into the parking lot. So, the thing is, I think that story took, like, a good turn, like a wild turn, cause just the turn of I like I worked at an ice station. There was just some dude who was just bringing me gifts, and they just vanished, and but just out of nowhere he kills himself. He kills himself. But because but the fact that, but it's just like, there's just a lot to comprehend there. Just, I was really, hold on. Let me just read this paragraph. He knew who Ed was being the operative word. Ed had been dead for months. He'd been caught stealing cash from the dump. They charged a fee to drop trash, and Ed had been pocketing cash. Then he'd hung himself. So, let's. So, the man. So, Ed killed himself, is what I'm getting. Or so they. or so it could or so it thought, or so they thought. Cause, quote, yesterday I thought I saw a familiar truck pulling into the parking lot. If that truck is Ed's, I don't know what, I honestly don't know what to think. Alright, we're gonna read one more story and then it's the end of the video. Alright, and we have found our last story of the night, which is Dear Passengers of the 6:43 train. Well, I think this is gonna be really interesting. So, let's go into it. I'm sorry, passengers of the 6:43 train. I know the likelihood of any of you reading this is slim to none, but I'd like to apologize if you all the same to you all the same. If any of you are somehow reading this, I wonder if you feel it yet. Sorry I'm rambling. My thoughts have been scattered. I didn't want to infect you, but the devil made me. He's hard to ignore. The Shadowman infected me, but he says I only started seeing him because infected. He's lying though. I used to see him at the end of the bed before I'd fall asleep, and then one day I woke up and his face was right in front of me. Terrible grin, his mocking laughter. Sorry, I'm rambling again. It's hard to focus. It's the first part. It's the first part of being infected. I can't think properly yet. I can't think properly. Can't write down the words properly. It's word salad is the new norm. I went to a club because I thought I could sweat out the infection and dance the devil out of my body. Instead, the devil made me follow clubbers out the back door and infect them too. And it felt so bad, and they screamed in pain, but soon they'll know worse pain of the devil coursing through their veins. It feels like a bad trip, and I can't stop. And I can't stop it. Or get this ride, and I'm sorry, I'm rambling again. Back to the train. Passengers of the 6:43 train, has the Shadow Man started following you yet? I tried to gouge out my eyes before he looked so horrible, but now he's inside me and we use his eyes to see. He told me once that he's done using my body, he'll let me pick how we dispose of me. But I saw the images in my dreams, and I know he'll make me burn. I heard myself screaming and felt the heat of the flames and felt my skin peel off. But that's the least of my worries, okay, I swear. The 6:43 train won't get to its destination for another hour and a half, and by then you'll all be going mad. I just know it, just like me. I can see all your flesh melting off right now into puddles of blood on the ground that are sloshing around my ankles. The Shadow Man said it's all in my head, and not 'cause I'm crazy, but because he's messing with me. Says he'll stop if I take the train all day and infect more. I'm so sorry, everyone. I don't want to hurt anyone, but the devil's making me. There are spiders in my mouth, so I can't open it, or the lady beside me will freak out, and I can't freak out 'cause the Shadow Man will be mad and punish me. He said he'll make me sleep with those bodies, we buried deep, deep in the ground, and he'll scream until my ears bleed and consume me from the inside out. Passengers of 6:43, I'm sorry. I really am. I've been holding in that cough a lot. For a while. So, thoughts. I'm a little bit confused. It's like a mixture of confusion and just what? Well, no, it's not even a mixture of confusion and what. It's a mixture of confusion and kind of understanding. Also, I just want to say, wherever I saw Shadowman, I instantly thought Black Ops Black Ops 3 in the first in the non-DLC map. I forgot what it was called, but it just made me think to the first Black Ops 3, the zombies map in Black Ops 3 that's a non-DLC. It just made me think of that. I was just like, that's kind of funny. But yeah, my thoughts are like, if you, so this is kind of confusing. So this is kind of confusing, like I said, confusing and understandable. It's like, so the Shadow Man. I feel that the Shadow Man is different. Is like a form of, well, he describes it, a form of like the devil. He says it's the form of the devil. A form of the devil, basically. Or he says it is the devil. Quote, I didn't want to infect you, but the devil made me, and it's hard to ignore. But the devil made me. But I think what it is, it's like, the Shadow Man is like your thoughts of, like your bad thoughts. Just like, it's like, you want to kill your, just kind of like, you want to kill this person. And it's just like, yeah, and it's just like, but I actually don't want to. But this version of those thoughts are just kind of like, it overpowers what your actual thoughts are. It overpowers you to the point where you actually do it, and you don't even have control of your body. But like seeing like how the Shadow Man is going body to body, just kind of, it's just kind of like, wow, that's just crazy. Also, another really like creepy part added. There are spiders in my mouth, so I can't open it. Just spiders in my mouth. It's just like, yeah, yikes. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be all for r/NoSleep. I'll see if I can get this out in under an hour. If not, then I'm uploading this at 10 p.m. But I really want to get this out at 9:30. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. Please do leave a like and subscribe. I'm not gonna ask for a like goal. Uh, subscribe today, become part of the AI army. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.